I followed the request and did a video about my windsurf boards, and now this is the follow-up part where I talk about my sails, and this is quite an interesting topic as Patrik has 4 racing sails basically, some for fin, some for foil and some for both. So we'll take a look at that and also about boom settings and mast and everything in this video. When talking about the sails, I want to give a quick overview about how the PATRIK sail range is split up in the racing category. So we have first of all the Race Plus. This is a fin sail, a pure fin sail, and this is the only model I actually don't have because I'm way more concentrated on foil. But later on to that. So the Race Plus is, as I said, fin dedicated, and from what I heard, it has a lot of power. So especially after the jibe, when you shifted the sail, it straight up wants to let you go again. Yeah, especially for bigger sizes on the fin, let's say from 9 square meters down to 7, I think this is the choice to go. Then next up we have the Race SF, which stands for slalom and foil, which actually means fin slalom and fin foil. And this sail I heard, and I can confirm that in the small sizes it's especially good on fin because it has a bit less power and more control than the Race Plus I just mentioned, and it's also usable on the foil. So I have these sails in the sizes 7.4 and 6.2 so far, and for sure I will get also a 5.6, so I'm ready for strong wind PWA events like Pozo and Fuerte, and probably also a 6.8. So yeah, in the end I will have 4 sails of this model, and it's, yeah, as I said, especially nice if the conditions are changing, you need to change from fin to foil, or if you don't want to have such a big quiver, then it's obviously a good choice. The next one, probably, no, I will call it like that. My favorite sail is the Foil S2. It's the S2 means basically speed and slalom foiling, and this is really a dedicated foil sail. It's super nice for slalom, for just going downwind, for jibes, good acceleration, everything you need for the race course. And this is also the sail I tested first from PATRIK, because some probably don't know, but I've been on other gear before, and then this year I changed, and during the summer I tested a lot of brands, and yeah, I also tested PATRIK, and I loved the S2 straight away, and I was really surprised that they came up with such a nice sail. And you know, PATRIK is doing boards for a long time, but sails, they are still quite new, I would say, a few years into the game. Anyways, this I have in the sizes 8.4, it's the biggest. Then I have 7.2, 6.0 and 4.8. Quite a big gap between each of them. Maybe I will fill them up here and there, also to be more prepared for PWA. I don't know yet which size I want to take, but basically you can already put your whole foil range from 10 knots or even less to 35 knots in 4 sails. And yeah, this is really, really nice, and this is why I choose the sizes. And last one, we have the Foil Plus, and this one has all these sails I just mentioned have 7 battens. The Foil Plus has 8 battens, and it's not purely, it was first introduced as the course racing sail, because that's what was foiling famous for in the past. So yeah, this one is really nice for going upwind, going downwind. It has a bit more power than the pure S2 sail. Yeah, so this I have in the size 9.0. It's only available in big sizes from 8 to I think 11 square meters. And yeah, probably good for riders who live in low wind areas or are a bit heavier. Yeah, now I want to put I have here S2 and 7.2, and the SF in 7.4. So now I want to put them on each other so we can see the difference in outline and stuff. Now I want to start with comparing the foil S2 with the race SF. Here on the bottom we have the SF in the size 7.4 and on top the S2 in 7.2. And as you can see, the SF looks already bigger, not as much from the luff, so from the mast length and stuff. So in the front they are quite the same height or similar at least, but in the back it extends much further behind the clew. And what this does is it generates a lot more backhand pressure or backhand power, what we call. So when you're sailing, basically how the sail is either pulling you with the wind or pulling you forward, you know, where you feel it in the arms. So this is way better for fin sailing, for example, because there you want the sail which is pushing you a little bit against the fin, so then you can accelerate forward. But with the foil, we want to have that the sail is already pulling us forward, because we don't have this, the fin as an engine, let's say. So that's why the S2 is working so well as a foil sail, because it has very little backhand pressure. It's really nice because all you feel is the wind pulling you straight forward, you know, and this is really the best feeling in foiling. And with the SF, I actually, just yesterday, I compared the 6.2 and the 6.0. Now we have one size up, let's say, of these both sails here. And I felt that on the foil I had way more backhand pressure than with the S2, but it was still good for foiling. So what I did then to counter that a little bit, I was using the SF in the lower clew section, in the lower clew hole, for foiling, and I also used it on fin gear a lot, and there I had it mostly in the upper one. So especially with the SF, I feel like it's really good to play around with the different clew settings, so you can adjust the sail very nicely towards if you're fin sailing or foiling. And what else? Yeah, of course also the battens are in different positions, because usually the SF, as I said, it's a mixture between fin and foil. So there you also count for using it on the fin, and on the fin you lay a bit more to the back. That's why the angle of the battens are different. But this, I guess, is not so interesting. That's why I wanted to talk about masts, because even though these sails are pretty close in the sail size, in the square meters, they have different mast length. And in PATRIK, or with PATRIK, we have SDM mast split up in 20 centimeter steps instead of 30 centimeters. And don't be afraid of that, because some could think that this again is causing a lot more gear, you need to be even more specialized and stuff. But I just see it as an opportunity to be more customizable, but you don't have to, you know, because every sail is still riggable with the 430 mast, with the 460, 490. But with PATRIK, for example, here in the S2, I use a 480 mast, which is not so, or I don't know another brand which has it sorted out like that. But yeah, just as a quick explanation why I personally like it, because with other brands, all the top riders are trying, let's say they try 5 or 10 different 590 masts, and then they want to find a production where they were a bit stiffer, sometimes they were a bit less stiff, so softer, and then they are collecting them together. And now with PATRIK, you have the opportunity, for example, if you're a lighter rider, if you're a heavier rider, you can just buy, for example, a 480, which is softer than a 490, because shorter is mostly softer. And if you, for example, need a hard mast because you're very heavy or some other reasons, then you can just buy the 5 meter mast. So that's why I like it, so I can tune even more, but just see it as additional, you know, don't be, no need to overcomplicate, let's say. So in general, with the SF, I talk a lot about the SF because as it is a combined sail for both, you can also tune a lot. And just as a reference, if you put a slightly longer mast, then it's more suitable for foiling because a harder mast keeps the sail, moves the profile of the sail a bit forward, which then again closes the leash a little bit more. And this is, as I said, this pulling effect to the front. And if you put a shorter mast, then it's working more like a traditional fin sail with a lot of loose leash, which is releasing the gust and the tension, and that's makes the control and the speed on the fin. With the PATRIK masts, you will find these connection markers, and they help to align the mast top and the mast base perfectly every time, and also with the extension, and that way you can put it in the sail every day the same, so there are no differences. As this is made out of carbon, it could be that it performs differently in different rotations, so yeah, that's why we have it here. It should be common sense that you should check while rigging that the mast top is fully pushed into this thing here, and also that the mast itself is still fully aligned, because it could get loose while rigging, but yeah, that should be clear. Yeah, regarding putting on the cambers, I found out it's the best way to put downhole as much that the mast is just hiding behind the mast sleeve, let's say, so it's moving out of this transparent thing area. And then I put this camber first, it's the second from the bottom, then the bottom one, then I put a bit more tension, and then I put the top ones in. So let's try if I did a good job here. By the way, I do it that with the left hand I hold the mast, with the right hand I go next to the camber and the batten and push down, and then I just use my knee as leverage to put the camber in. And it can be quite hard and physical, but that most of the time means that you either put too much or too little tension. While I put on the cambers, I always make sure it's also aligned perfectly to the mast, because it also can happen easily that it's twisting away and then you will break the batten or the mast or the camber. Something will go wrong, so every time make sure it's aligned perfectly. The sail is now fully rigged, and the most important thing is probably the loose leash. This is the area where the sail opens here in the top, and on the PATRIK sails you can use the transition from black to white on the batten sleeves as a good marker and indication. And you can see I pulled a little bit ahead of it, so for me this is always the reference of the minimum, and then I, depending on the conditions and so on, I go a little bit further. And this takes me to one special tip. I would always put the extension one size longer than it's written on there, and I've been doing that for basically the whole time I'm windsurfing, or at least since I'm racing, because I don't know why, but every brand marks it a bit shorter on there, so you rather have a few centimeters left on the extension than having it too short. So put just one or two more, and yeah, that's basically it. I mean, as I said before, I really play around with the clue settings. The top one closes the sail a little bit more, so genuinely you have more power. And if you use the bottom one, you have more control as the sail releases a bit more. I use this on my foil sails when it's stronger wind, less winds. I change it. Sometimes I even change it on the water, then I swim and change it in the back. And with the SF, especially when you go on foil, you take the lower one. If you go on fin, you can play around with both. That's basically it. I mean, my size is 181, so I have my boom with most sails. I have it at the lower third of the window, so it's just that as a reference. And what else can I say? I mean, the harness lines, you probably can't really copy where I put them. I can just tell you I have these racing harness lines from PATRIK, and I don't even know how long they can go. I think it's something like 28 until 42, so really the longest I could find. And yeah, I have them basically on every boom, so I can extend them for foiling. You want to sit very low and have a long harness lines to dance over the waves with a foil. Yeah, so regarding booms, nothing special here. I mainly use two sizes. I have 4 of the 170 to 220 booms and 2 of the 2 meter to 250 booms. The big booms have the external back end of the boom, and they are a bit more stiff, and obviously you can use them for longer sails. I mainly use it for 8.4 and 9.0, so for my big foil sails, but everything underneath I go with a small boom from sail sizes 4.8 until 7.4 like now. Yeah, so this is how I split up my booms. I will now leave you alone with all the information. If you have more questions, just type them in the comments, and then we can text about it. And I want to say again that I have a partner, Wind Lounge. They are an online surf shop, and they also have the PATRIK gear and also other brands if you're interested in that somehow, I don't know. So check them out. They are really focusing on service and customer support. So yeah, they really want to give you a nice experience if you're looking for some items, no matter what. So check them out. I say thank you, and I say also you're welcome for all the information. Hope you enjoyed it, and then see you in the next one.